Good morning, dear students. Welcome to my class. This is the first class in chemistry, Unit 1. Topics: atoms, elements, molecules. Atoms, elements, molecules. Writing chemical equations, typical reaction of acids. Sadiq, are you new students or have you completed Unit 2 or 1 or Unit 3?
It's a new student.
Uh, Pure new, okay. Now, so I am starting from very beginning, Unit 1 and first topics, atoms, okay. The learning objectives, we know these terms, atoms, from this class we'll know atom, element, ion, molecule, compound, and balanced fluid and ionic equation, including state symbols for chemical reactions. Okay, do you know atom? The smallest particle of an chemical element is called atom. And what is an element? Element is the contain only one type of atom. An element contains only one type of atoms. Like you take sodium, you will find only sodium. So sodium is element. Hydrogen. What is ion? An atom like hydrogen or chlorine, or group of atoms like a sulfate, nitrate, that are charged due to gain or loss of at least one electron. So atom or group of atoms that charged due to gain or loss of at least one or more electron is called ions. So ions contain charge. When it gain electrons, it become negative charge. When it loss electrons, it become positive charge. What is a molecule? Molecules are made up of at least two atoms. Molecules are made up of at least two atoms chemically bonded together. So molecules are made up of at least two atoms chemically bonded together. And what is compound? Compounds are also molecules which contain different elements, so they are made up of different types of atoms. This is one kind of molecules. Here more than two elements join together, so molecules. And here different types elements join together, like water. So here copper is element because here only one type of atom. All atoms are there same. Helium. Shakil Ahmed. Hello Shakil. Oh, Shakil, are you listening me? Okay, next is topics is Shakil. I know so far you have completed unit AS level. Shakil. No, left. Okay. क्या लेफ्ट कर रहा सारे का सेकंड मार्केटर टर्क शेषो इस यूनिट. Okay, next is bromine. Bromine is molecule because here same type atoms join together. Hydrogen bromide is compound because here different type atoms join together. This carbonate is ion because it contains negative charge, two negative charges. So you can identify how atoms. What happened? Okay, activity 1. Unmute Sadiq and give answer question. Unmute. Sadiq Ahmed, are you listening me? Unmute and give answer these questions. Okay. Okay. Classify each of the symbols and formulae as atoms, molecules, and okay. Neon. What is neon? Uh, Unmute. Neon. Is it atoms, molecules, or ions? Neons. Hello, Sadiq, quickly say. Unmute. Sadiq, are you listening me? Unmute. Koro. Give answer these questions.
What,
Neon.
sir?
Neon. এই কি আনসার তো না তুমি এখানে এটা বন্ধ করে রাখছো কে বলছো তোমারে নিয়ন কি নিয়ন কি
Sir,
হ্যাঁ বলো নিয়ন কি নিয়নটা কি একটা বলো আমি দেখাচ্ছি একটা জন্মতে এটা নিয়নটা কি অ্যাটমস না মলিকুলস না আয়নস দেখো সান এই তাড়াতাড়ি শেষ করতে হবে তো তোমার এখানে নিয়ন তুমি কি অ্যাটম চিনো না
sir, I told atom.
তারপরে কার্বন ডাই অক্সাইড
Sir, ions.
কার্বন ডাই অক্সাইড আয়নস মলিকুলস
Molecule, sir.
এইচ প্লাস আয়ন এটা আয়নস আমি অলরেডি বলছি আর অ্যাসিড টু কি সালফার সেম
Some molecules.
হ্যাঁ মলিকুলস তারপরে অ্যালুমিনিয়াম 3 প্লাস আয়ন আমি আয়ন তো বলেছি
Sir, ions.
আচ্ছা ব্রোমিনটা কি elements compounds or elements
Molecule.
molecules
Okay.
why this one is molecule why
Sir, two same atoms.
same atoms hydrogen peroxide
Compounds.
why this one compounds
Sir, two different atoms.
two different atoms
Molecule, two different molecules.
na compound molecules compound because it contain when more than one atoms join together they are molecules so this one in molecules also compound okay all compounds are molecules but all molecules are not compounds okay next writing formula during writing formula we have to know oxygen is diatomic hydrogen exists in nature is diatomic nitrogen diatomic not N water is H2O sodium hydroxide is NaOH and nitric acid is this one and iron 2 sulfate is FeSO4 iron 3 sulfate is oxide is Fe2O3 and calcium carbonate you will remember these things the description is hydrogen peroxide decomposes to water and oxygen this is the hydrogen peroxide when decomposes when its form is compounds and ions from this is the decomposition of hydrogen peroxide when hydrogen peroxide decomposes from water and oxygen this is the balanced equation next consider this unbalanced equation for the complete combustion of butane what is combustion reaction do you know combustion reaction combustion reaction is reaction with oxygen this is the butane 4 carbon in a chain so butane on the combustion reaction butane form carbon dioxide and water this is the unbalanced equation this is the balanced equation in the following this okay this can be written this way C4H10 half 6.5 oxygen molecules and 4 carbon dioxide. Here you can use 6.5 instead of 6 half also is acceptable. You can write 6 1 by 2 or 6.5 this. Okay, this using state symbol, we know solid is state symbol is S, liquid state symbol is L, gas state symbol is G, and aqueous solution AQ. AQ means dissolved in water, and is like sodium hydroxide AQ. We understand sodium hydroxide is dissolved in water. It is important to distinguish L and AQ. A common error is to write water H2O AQ instead of H2O L. We will write always H2O L, not H2O AQ. Okay, when aqueous solution of silver nitrate and calcium chloride are mixed, a white precipitate of silver chloride forms. As this precipitate settles, a solution of calcium nitrate becomes visible. So when silver nitrate reacts with calcium chloride, a compound form, silver chloride precipitate form, and also another compound form, calcium nitrate. So this is the reaction. Silver nitrate and calcium chloride form silver chloride and calcium nitrate. How to write ionic equation? So this is the 3 steps for writing ionic equation. You start with a full equation for the reaction. At first you will write full equation. Okay, like reactants and products, all reactants and products you write, and with correct symbol formula. Then replace the formula of ionic compounds by their separate ions. Then replace the formulae of ions or of ionic compounds by their separate ions. Step 3 is delete any ions that appear identically on both sides. Then you cut the ions which are same in both sides. So at first you write the reaction between sodium hydroxide and dilute nitric acid form sodium nitrate and water. This is the first step. Start with full equation for the reaction. First step. And second step is replace the ionic compounds by their separate ions. So which is ionic compounds? The compounds which are aqueous, you replace AQ. This water is not AQ. Which are AQ, you replace by their ions. Like sodium hydroxide, you replace sodium plus OH minus AQ. And is nitric acid here, hydrogen plus and NO3 minus. And here sodium nitrate, sodium is Na plus and nitrate NO3 minus. Here H2L is not aqueous, L. You don't need to write these ions, separate ions, okay? So you need to cut the same ions in both sides is sodium, cut sodium ions. And so which things is remaining? Na cut. This the NaH is both sides and nitrate is here. You cut also here cut sodium is both sides. Cut sodium. Cut sodium is both sides sodium. This identical in both sides, and nitrate is identical in both sides. Cut nitrate. So which things are remaining? Here H plus and OH minus, and in the right hand side is H2O. This is the ionic equation of these reactions. Typical reaction of acids. When acid react with metal, form salt and hydrogen. Like acid react with metal, form salt, magnesium chloride salt and hydrogen gas. So when acid react with metal, form salt and hydrogen. When acid react with a metal oxide, form salt and water. Metal oxide like calcium oxide, acid react with calcium oxide, metal oxide, form salt and water. When acid react with alkali, we know acid neutralization, acid and base form salt and water. Like this is acid and this base form salt and water. Acid and base form salt and water. Acid and base form salt and water. There are three replaceable hydrogen in phosphoric acid. The salt form depend on the relative amounts of acid and alkali used. The ionic equation for all this reaction is H plus O and OH, so H2O. For this all reactions are acid and alkali when react form salt and water. Here ionic equation is H plus O, OH minus H2O. For all acid alkali reactions, ionic equation is H plus OH minus plus H2OL. When acid react with carbonate, metal carbonate form. When acid react with metal carbonate form salt, water and carbon dioxide. Like acid react with lithium carbonate form salt, water and carbon dioxide. Define molecular formula. The actual number of atoms of each element present in a compound is molecular formula. Glucose actual number is glucose actual number of atoms in glucose is C6H12 O6. This is the glucose actual number of atoms of each element present in a compound is called molecular formula. Now next topic is empirical formula. Empirical formula, the simplest whole number ratio of atoms of each element in a compound. So whole number ratio of atoms of each element in a compound is called empirical formula. Like this is empirical formula. We can write this glucose also C6H12 H12O6 is the glucose molecular formula. Its ratio is, if I divided by 6, we find 1, this is 2 and this is 1. So this one is the simplest ratio of atoms of each element in a compound. This CH2O is the empirical formula of this compound. Okay, homework. This assignment 1, you do this, write full equation for the reaction between zinc and sulfuric acid, ammonium oxide and hydrochloric acid, and write simple ionic equation for the reaction between these reactions. And also write. Okay, thank you for joining today's class. That's the